structured water is a term that's been applied to a different form of water as what you call bulk water, what we're all used to. The difference in water is not new to Native Americans or ancient cultures at all. It's highly referenced. It's very important, as we just discussed, as a fundamental life pattern or storage of life energy. So because of the bulk water that we use and how it is distributed, this water is, normal natural structure is taken apart through motion triggers, which motion is a vibration. Structure can occur through vibration, sound, light, electromagnetics, all forms of changes in pressure is the easiest way to put it for higher and lower, whether it's a vacuum or pressure application. So structured water in particular through this unit comes about by emulating natural flow, and water in a river that's not over-contaminated is structured water by nature's style. Clayton's device took that model, and in a short space and short period of time, the left-right motion and in between in rivers, where the left and right collide in the turns, is where the counter motion occurs. And this cancellation force, just like the Bose thing where the sound is gone, the noise is gone. Noise being entropy, disorder, heading towards chaos, heat, pressure, gravity, they all mean exactly the same thing on the fundamental level, and they're heading towards disorganization. So what we're talking about with structured water is an organized molecular structure where there is no H2O working alone anymore. It's groups of H2O working together cohesively to increase the entire function of the body of water, which has an electrical conductivity effect and magnetic effect throughout the water. Those terms fall out under the cancellation, and this is where the life force side of it comes in. But property-wise, they're just a faster, higher speed, I would say beyond the speed of light, faster vibration that can't be detected, and ultra-low, slower going on at the same time. So it's opening up your rainbow, your bandwidth, and what you can see, the bandwidth of your sight, the bandwidth of your smell range, the bandwidth of your hearing range, just like a dog can hear out there, but we can't. It's in the water itself is opening that up. So all things, when it's done to that water, that it comes in contact with, in or around, begin to catch a wider bandwidth, and adaptation functions, which involve health, mineral reformation or formation into rocks as the water's running over it. Everything's being refined and altered. The statistical atomics and chemistry, iron is iron. And, at the doctorate level, there's many different types of iron, and then there's many beyond that. So it keeps going to infinity, but we can see another layer to all this within the water. So the structured water term is used to imply organization and cohesion within the water that will share its effect, especially with biologics and life form energy, but we found that goes into metals and inert things that you wouldn't think would be reactive, so it opened up the bandwidth of knowledge and experience working with the solid dead matter, as it were, and literally you come to a point where you realize every single electron and atom has the spark of life inside of it, the same life we have. Not the same as us, but the same beginnings. We can talk about turbulence and vortexing here. And turbulence exists in a tornado, but that's a unified turbulence, different from microturbulence, which is what water experiences under pressure as it's being moved down a line. You can have some pressure due to height. Natural pressures are allowable. There's a bandwidth for this to operate in. So when I say pressure, it's not all pressure, but saturated pressure where we're starting to push, beyond the gravity forces, if you will. They more or less cause the turbulence to ununify, non-vortex, no tornado, and form millions of random microeddies that are all working against the water flow. So the intention is to move water from here to there, and the response of the water is against our intention when we do it that way. When we begin to unify the turbulence, as in a vortex, we start to see resistance in the system go down, and the response of the water pushing back on our intention becomes less and less and less. So if we get to a spot where we understand the vibrations and the rhythms and the shapes of the water in its container as we're using it and moving it, and match up with that, we see that the resistance can go to 0 or less than 0 for short periods of times, and some inventions and some claims and some experiences quite a long time that water can flow uphill. There's a few places in the world that do this, and it requires all of our science, the incorporation of it, to explain that. So when we bring water into a home with the intention of bringing it into the home the way we're doing it in straight pipes, we see nature never ever moves water in straight pipes. Nobody ever drinks out of a canal with no trees along the side of it that the sun's beating heat and pressure into. And we see the structured water in rivers where the water goes left, right, falls, churns and tumbles, and all these motions, I call it the univector because it's all vectors. And when you look at the mechanics through this unit, that's precisely what you get is a one vector situation, which is all vectors, implying the unification of the situation. It gets a lot more complex than that to go into the wave theory and supersonic nozzles and whatnot. But the structured water we're bringing in the home, we're taking apart, and it's telling us we're taking it apart. And so it still functions as a base water form, and still can have good quality in that form as far as the life survival functions. When you want to head towards adaptive strategies and evolution, then you need to be looking at healthy waters such as nature originally provided, and that's getting rarer and rarer, and this technology helps bring that river system and practically and simply into a small package to move back in that direction. And there's more in the future. There's more levitated forms, and this is very simple and widely available. So for me to get involved with the company and have the underpinning knowledge of what else is going on inside of the water by specifically watching its electrical and magnetic functions and totaling those together to get this image of life force energy coming out of it, which could clearly be seen working with other machines, gave me the confidence to work with Clayton and Natural Action Technologies in regards to they were headed down the right path to get something out to the market simply that was easy to understand and comprehend. And a lot of the engineers I work with, we get into the technical side of this and the commercial applications, and they'll say it's not that hard to see that this is making the water turn left and right and move about itself different from going down a pipe like a river does. So simply, if you buy that, river and Mother Nature and the way it structured things, the river, the riverbed, the rocks, the minerals involved, and this internal flow form inside of here, also has things going on that are beyond just the flow mechanics that simulate the effect of minerals in a pristine mountain stream riverbed as their electrical effect. So the polarity heading that direction is the momentum that is the gate for life force energy. So the direction we're heading, bringing it into the house, is a way. It's not that the water's dead, it's still alive. It still has some structure even that could be identified. It has a lot of disorder and noise within itself from what it's experienced, and also a crystalline recorded memory of where it's been and what has flowed through and around that relate to silicon and computers. It's the same thing, except this is more mutable, more changeable at a faster pace. So you can erase that condition by triggers very rapidly through the mechanics that I just spoke of. So it's not so much whether it's dead or alive, it's whether you're heading towards dead water or heading towards living water. We don't know the limits of it. Water is the center of a lot of electrogravitic or anti-gravity study as a source to balance anti-gravity. Hockenai out of Germany calls his water levitated water. Schauberger referred to the levitative forces in water. So that is water heading towards the life force, and it appears that you can drive that all the way up to where water and whatever it's connected to becomes buoyant in any condition that it itself could be a part of anti-gravity functions. Very well studied topic. and Lord Kelvin's experiments with water, high quality water, low quality water. He created an inductor set and flowed water through needles, and he would get a 10,000 volt spark out of high quality water. Higher quality water, he could get a 100,000 volt spark out of. This dead water would not spark. So one of the earliest devices would be transforming life force energy into electrical energy as a witness. And life force energy does evolve to magnetic and electric energy. It seems to be the root point of it. So heading, the polarity heading is more important than anybody claiming that this is more or less life force or this is more or less dead. It's which way is this trend heading. And the device is designed to head towards charged, activated water and life force energy into the water. So in effect, the statement, we are bringing the water back to life, is completely true from my perspective. The science behind it would say the direction is more important, hence in the language, back to life.